So you guys come in, you're put with Bobby Heenan. Very quickly, you're going to be in some pretty high profile matches. You guys are working with Demolition and the Hart Foundation, but it feels like a much different presentation than working, down south, as they like to say in New York. What was the difference in the tag team style that you used with, say, the Midnights or the Rock and Rolls or the Road Warriors versus now you're with the Rockers and the Hart Foundation and Demolition? Was it same thing, just a different style ring, or was it totally different, Tully?
No, it wasn't totally different, in my opinion. We just had to re-educate the guys that we worked with, as well as wrestling fans, that the stuff was Vince never really pushed tag teams,
right?
And we had the opportunity to change that, and so it was, we had great matches with the Rockers. I don't know that we had great matches with the Sheepherders. We had good matches with the Sheepherders, but I don't know that they might have been great. The Hart Foundation, because of the people that were in it and the amount that they were over, we had good matches with them. We had good matches with Demolition, and but the thing that everybody that worked for Crockett knew that they were going to be featured, and we would make them look better than they could make themselves look. And that was our reputation. It wasn't any question about it. And the people working for the New York office didn't have that. I don't know that they had ever had anybody worry about their stuff rather than everybody worried about their own stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Arn, did I hit that nail on the head? Or
yeah, the biggest thing right off the get-go is they said, we don't want you doing this. Day one, go to the ring, do not do this. And I think it was Jack Lanza. So we weren't that wasn't created through their company. They didn't want it. We were starting over. The blessing was they didn't give us some terrible costuming, some goofy catchphrases, goofy costuming. We were pretty much the Horsemen with a different name. And that was the main thing I was worried about. And, Vince even said one time, he said, you guys lend credibility to my company, which was the biggest compliment that he ever gave us. But we, the one thing we did have to learn is they had a definite pecking order there, and teams were positioned underneath, in the middle, top teams. And what was not appreciated was from the get-go, whether it was Roma and Powers or whoever it was, we went out and tried to have too good a match, and we were still learning. Hey, apparently I was still learning, because I thought going out having the best match possible, so did Tully, was the right thing to do, but not with those guys. There were certain teams that, if Demolition worked with them, they just ate them up. And we made a couple of mistakes early about selling too much for certain teams who had been beaten to death. Barry Darso grabbed me the first curtain. First time we came through the curtain, and he goes, come with me over here. He says, man, cut out all those bumps. We don't do that up here. Well, I figured it out the next day, because that ring was hard. It was bigger and it was harder. And buddy, if you're going to wrestle as many times as those guys did, and I would soon learn how much they traveled, how many skipping across the country and around the world for that matter on those planes, you didn't go out there and have a 4-star match some nights. Just wasn't supposed to be. And it's all stuff that we picked up pretty quickly. And obviously having Bobby, All he had to do was just look at the crowd, and they started the weasel stuff. Piece of cake.
Yeah.
Tully, when you guys were up there, you know, one of the things we've talked about with Arn is how brutal the travel schedule was compared to when you worked for Crockett. Can you give us a glimpse into what that schedule looked like? Because we've heard from you a lot on like old WWE DVDs where you talked about the crazy horseman lifestyle where you guys would wake up here, do the show, fly to Vegas, party all night, fly back the next morning, do another show, fly back to Vegas. This crazy jet setting line horseman. But now, man, you're on 6 a.m. flights all over the world, right?
Oh gosh, it was. Yeah. If there was an earlier flight, you were on the earlier flight. And oh my gosh, it was crazy. And we were on 14-day tours. We were supposed to be 14 on, 3 days off, 5 days on, 3 days off, 14 on, and like that. But it seemed like we were on 14, off 3 days, on 14. But you had to, not only did you have to fly home on your first day off of your 3 days. So it seemed like they did it on purpose. We were either in Vancouver or Portland, Oregon. I remember one time we were up in Nova Scotia, which is a 3-hour flight to Boston, flying back to Charlotte. And then you had to buy your own ticket to get home. And then when you depending on where your tour started, you had to fly out either the night. I think we flew out the night before. So your 3 days off are really a day and a half off. But we might have flew out on Monday. I mean on the morning of our next show. I don't really remember. It has been a while.
Yes, it has been a while. And I hope when you guys had to buy your own airline tickets, you had extra cash kicking around. Tully, when did you realize, hey man, this might not be all it's cracked up to be? I'm not saying I necessarily want to run back and work for Jim Crockett Promotions, but thankfully that's not a thing anymore. Turner's running the show, but I don't know what I got to do, but I got to get off this crazy train of working for Vince McMahon and being in a different town every single day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we were in a different town every night, basically with the other company too, but the private planes made it a little bit easier flying home and that kind of stuff. But it was hard work wrestling, every night, but that's when the live audience was your product. Mm-hmm. And the TV show was the infomercial. And when that all changed, it changed the way the business is, but it was,
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.